An industry analysis helps you understand how the industry that you want to enter into is currently operating. And Porter's 5 Forces is a framework that helps you organize your thoughts in a structured way. So in 1979, Michael Porter, a Harvard Business School professor, developed this framework. And what it does is it provides a new way to effectively strategize, identify, analyze, and manage external factors as it relates to your venture. So here are the 5 forces. We start with the rivalry of existing competitors. Then we have the threat of new entrants into the market, the threat of substitute products that customers could use instead of your products or services in this market, and then the bargaining power of both suppliers as well as buyers. Competitive rivalry is the degree of rivalry between existing companies in the market. So first you want to ask yourself, in this market, do I even have competitors? Now, a lot of time people assume they don't, but you have to really think about what it is that you have on offer and if there's anybody remotely close to what you're offering today. So once you've asked yourself that question, then you want to assess the pressure of competition in the market. Now, when competitive rivalry is high, you're going to see a lot of similar-sized companies with similar strategies, with similar products, and similar offerings and benefits. So everyone's going to kind of look the same, and so there's going to be a lot of competition to differentiate. Growth in the industry will also be slow, and there are going to be high barriers to exist in the industry and low barriers to entry. Now, the threat of new entrants is the threat that new competitors pose to existing competitors in an industry. So this power is high when patents and proprietary knowledge are not required to enter the industry, so anybody can start. Access to specialized technology or infrastructure is also not needed, and economies of scale or government obstacles are easily achieved or overcome. You'll also see low switching costs, so for customers, it'll be very easy for them to switch from one company to another. And there's easy to access raw materials and distribution channels. Now, the threat of new substitutes looks at the threat that companies within one industry are forced to compete with industries producing substitute products or services. So you could think about the car industry and their competition with public transportation, as well as bikes or even just walking. Now, when this threat is high, the threat of substitutes is affected by factors such as brand loyalty, switching costs, relative prices, as well as trends and fads. Bargaining power of buyers is an interesting one. This is the pressure that your consumers can exert on a business to get them to produce higher quality products, better customer service, and all of that at lower prices. Now, when the bargaining power of buyers is high, buyers are more concentrated. Their switching costs are low, and their buyer price is sensitive. So if you change the price on them, they're happy to change to another product or service, which kind of forces you to keep in line and continue to charge lower prices. They can also purchase at higher volumes because of the lower price. Now, these buyers are often well-educated, they know what's out there, and they know what substitutes are available. So they're able to really kind of play the role of deciding what they're going to engage with and what you as a business really need to do to meet their needs. Then there's the bargaining power of suppliers. So in this case, the pressure is coming from the supplier end as opposed to the consumer. And this is talking about the supplier's ability to raise prices, lower the quality of what they're giving you, or reducing the availability of their products. Supplier power is high when you have a concentrated set of suppliers. And for you, switching costs are pretty high, and so you're stuck with the suppliers that you work with. Products are also highly differentiated when supplier power is high, and so you have to go to different suppliers for very specific things, but there's usually only one or two of them. And buyer price is not sensitive, so they're willing to pay whatever they need to in order to get those products or services. And then lastly, the suppliers are large industry players. So if you won't do business with them, they're guaranteed to get business somewhere else, and so they're not as flexible. So let's take a look at this example for Netflix. Now, I won't dive too deeply into this, but what I do want to call out is that across all 5 of Porter's 5 forces, they've rated each of these powers as high, low, or moderate. It's important for you to do that when you're trying to identify how these forces are at play in your industry. You want to be able to describe whether the power is high, medium, or low, and then you also want to be able to defend it with additional context.